everyone, it is Toby here, back for another video, and today we are going to be doing our pressing session again that I usually do in the public gym, but I've got a week at the home gym today, so we're going to record the full pressing session for you guys. This is pressing session 1 out of 2 for the week. I usually show you my second one because that is on the log and a bit more interesting, a bit more funky accessories on that one, but today is pretty much just a straight gym bro pressing session. You can do it in any public gym, and in fact it's probably better to do in a public gym, and I'll explain why in just a second in the session plan. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the last video, my leg day. It is literally only the next day that I'm recording this, and it is already doing super well with lots of likes and lots of engagement with the comments, having some good discussions back and forth. So really appreciate that. And if you do enjoy these videos, please be sure to again show that support with a like down below. It helps out the channel massively. But without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into a bit of a session plan. So today, as I mentioned, it is all about pressing, mostly overhead, but we got some bench in there as well. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to work up to a heavy set of strict overhead press with a barbell, standing of course. So this is not a push press. We're not using our leg drive. We are just using pure shoulder and tricep power. And we're going to work up, as I said, to quite a heavy weight for a set of 5 to 8. So the program says 5 plus, which means I could do 5 reps, or if I'm feeling good, do 1 to 3 extras on top. So I treat it as if it's a set of 5 to 8, blast out the first 5 and just see how many we get. Then we go straight into the main heavy accessory of today, which is just a standard barbell bench press, 3 sets of 3 to 6, quite heavy. Bench press is a great accessory for building that tricep and chest power, but we don't want to focus on it as the main compound, because obviously in Strongman all we really care about at the minute is the overhead strength, which is why we start with the strict press. And then normally when we're in the public gym, we would do dumbbell shoulder press, seated dumbbell shoulder press, but being in the home gym, I don't have a good set of dumbbells that go heavy enough for me to do dumbbell shoulder press. So for this week, I'm just going to omit those and try and push a bit harder on the strict press and the bench press, and go back to normal next week when we're in the public gym. And then it is just a sleuth of tricep and rear delt accessories. So tricep push downs are a staple of this, nice and heavy, not too strict, but strict enough, but nice and heavy, getting that real finishing move to the triceps. Then we just have some face pulls and some other rear delt health work. So it's a proper big shoulder and tricep session today. Lots of pressing. It is usually a brutal one, so I'm going to get stuck in and I'm going to warm up on the strict press. Catch you just before my top set. All right, guys. So while I am doing my warm-ups here, I just wanted to go over a few little secrets with overhead press technique that I've been using recently to make my overhead press nice and strong. So before I get all kitted up and all warm, I wanted to go over on the empty bar just a few pointers and a few tips and tricks that have set my strict press on an upward trajectory over the last few months, which never was my strong suit. I was always a lifter that got loads of power out of the legs, with my shoulders not doing too much, but now we're focusing strict press a lot. These few tips have sort of helped me build a really strong strict press for strength purposes. So the first thing you want to do is obviously set your grip on the bar. Now, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but on a bar, on a standard bar, you usually have either a section which is unknurled, or a section where the knurling stops and then has a center knurled. It's rare to see a bar that is knurled the whole way round. So for me, my personal favorite grip is I like to go a thumb length away from the center knurling. So hopefully you can see that on the camera. I have a thumb length away from the center, from where the knurling stops rather, and that is sort of where it's comfortable for me. Some people go as far as pinky on the ring, some people bring it a lot closer and have their index where the knurling stops. It all depends on the size of you and the width, but for me it is personally a thumb length away from the center knurling. And then with your hand position, you want it to be very similar, like holding the bar very similarly to how you hold it for a bench or anything, just nice and locked in, thumbs looped around, because if you start doing suicide grip on overhead and you drop it, it's going to come crashing down on you, so that's not good. So thumbs nice and locked around, and then when you unrack, you want to get nice under it and then have it as close to your collarbone as your mobility allows. So for me, that is pretty much bang on my collarbone. For some people, it might be further up here, but I like to have it nice and on my collarbone. And then as I start pressing, I want to sort of arch my shoulders back a bit and sort of arch my upper back, not compromising the strength and stability of my lower back because you're nice and braced, but just arch slightly and push your hips forward so your hips are below the center of the bar. So it's very important to keep your center of gravity under the plane of motion. So have your hips under the center of the bar, and you want to look straight up at the ceiling so you can watch where the bar path goes. And it's very important that in doing this, your elbows tend to come a bit further forward and your wrists angle backwards. So your forearm is completely perpendicular, or in other words, 90 degrees to the barbell. And from this position, you want to press straight up over your eyes and then bring your head through. So this allows you to break a nice stable position when you're pressing up. You're allowed to watch the bar up and your entire body is under the center of gravity of the bar. Then you can worry about your head through and locking out. So many people press with their head facing forward, completely straight, and that means that the bar is pressing out and around your head and then back over, and this is far weaker. So you want to get your head out the way and have the bar press straight up and down. And then if you're doing reps, don't worry about sticking your head through every time. And if you're doing a max, just get your head through nice and easy like that. Now for breathing and bracing, I take one big breath at the bottom, like, and then when I need to rebreathe, I do that as I'm locked out at the top, because that is the strongest position and allows you to get the most air in. So that is a few tips and tricks and sort of like form helping tips for you on the strict press, and it's what's helped me get a nice strong strict press lately. But I'm going to get warmed up, we're going to smash out a top set, and hopefully you'll see all of those tips in motion in a nice heavy set. Well, I feel like that was a pretty good showcase of those tips and tricks that I was giving you. Yeah, it doesn't ever look that impressive, the strict press in here, because the plates are so small, because I have limited headroom, as you can see. So I have to use the small 10s and 5s only. So it never ends up looking like much weight, but 87.5 is a pretty solid weight for strict press, for reps anyway. So really pleased with how that felt. That felt really comfortable. I felt like I nailed the form on every single rep, which is obviously what I was trying to do, to not only get the best out of me as possible, but also showcase exactly what I was talking about just before the lifting there. So I'm really pleased with how that felt. And yeah, let me know in the comments below if any of those tips or tricks helped you gain a few extra reps on your strict pressing, because it certainly helps me feel way more stable and way more strong overhead, is making sure, yeah, that my center of mass is below the barbell and the barbell isn't escaping forwards on me. It actually makes a huge difference keeping that head back and looking up at the ceiling. So yeah, let me know if that has helped you. But now we are going to move on to the bench press. So yeah, just going to fly straight in 3 sets of 3 to 6 at 120 kilo. So I'm probably capable of more weight for that rep range, but obviously we have just done a maximal set of strict press there, so the triceps are already going to be feeling it. So I'm sure the power of the chest will be fine, but sometimes the lockout starts to get a bit slow now that we've taxed those triceps. So sticking at 120 on the bench there, 3 sets of 3 to 6. Let's get them done. You could just see what I mean about those last few reps. Powerful off the chest, but the lockout's just slowing down. And it is just due to the pre-fatiguing of the triceps. That's what this session's all about, is getting your triceps used to having to fight through and press through that fatigue, because you don't want to have to rely on your shoulders and chest and all of that to make the press for you. At the end of the day in Strongman, we do a lot of push press. So a lot of it comes down to those triceps being able to catch that and lock it out. So that's why we're working so heavily on the triceps. And that is what this session's all about. So one more set to do, and then we can call it a day on all the pressing. Well, that last set really showcased what I meant with the triceps just burning out. Like, 120 for me is a pretty comfortable weight. Like, I can get 8 to 10 reps on it. So to be like burning out at the 5 and 6 mark really shows just how much my triceps have been through the last couple exercises. So yeah, it works really well as an accessory. It's a great tricep blaster. But speaking of which, normally, as I said, now I'd go into dumbbell shoulder press, which you can imagine is just awful after all that tricep work. But today I am going to be leaving that, because the home gym plate loadable dumbbells are great for stuff like rows, flies, light work, but heavy pressing on them is just a recipe for disaster. They're really hard to clean. They are, not the most stable of things. They're massive. So I don't like to do pressing on those unless I really have to. So as it's just the 1 week I'm here and not in the public gym, I'm just going to leave them out for today, play it safe. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load the thing up behind me with some weight, do some tricep push downs just to absolutely blast and finish off the triceps. Don't expect massive weights on this. My triceps are absolutely gone, as you can see. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to film it for you guys, and we'll catch up afterwards. They're actually feeling pretty good. I might up the weight. And if you're worried about the fact that I don't keep my elbows by my side and I let them travel at the top, I just like that little bit of momentum. I've got pretty bad tendonitis sometimes in my elbows doing exercises like this, and just letting them travel slightly like that just mitigates that a bit. So I can still feel it in my triceps, so it's not taken away from the movement too much for me, but just a little explanation there as to why I do that, because I know a lot of you like to keep that strict and just in the triceps, but for me, yeah, letting it travel just slightly up just helps the pain a little bit in my elbows. So let's up the weight and do a bit more. Okay, so that weight felt a lot better that time round. It felt really tight in my upper abs, like my top two. I guess holding that position is really pulling on those abs. So that was weird, but triceps are feeling pretty damn pumped now. Pretty nasty, to be honest. Something weird about a tricep pump where it's like you just walk around like this, like a bit of a T-Rex. You can't really straighten your arms, but no, I love it. Getting triceps nice and big is part of the Strongman game, and that is what we want. So triceps out of the way, feeling better than normal, to be honest. As I say, usually we do the dumbbell shoulders as well, so that adds another level of tricep destruction, but we're not doing those today. But yeah, all there's left to do now is just finish off the shoulders with a bit of rear delt and sort of shoulder health work. So that what that entails is everyone's favorite rear delt exercise, the face pull, and then a few other shoulder health things, namely external rotations, and just things to keep the rotator cuffs healthy and the mobility nice and good. So I'm going to smash through all of that. I don't think there's much point filming it because it isn't the most interesting of exercises. It's very light, very slow, and just general shoulder health things, but I like telling you guys about it just so you know that I do it every single pressing session, and it is something incredibly important to keep up in your training. So as I said, I'm going to smash them out now, and then I'll catch you at the end of the session with a bit of a loop and a recap, and then finally an outro. And there we have it. I am completely and utterly written off now. My arms barely work. That is always the sign of a good pressing session. When you feel like that, and I'm hoping that the tips I gave you earlier on in the video, as well as seeing how my pressing sessions are structured, will be insightful and help you decide on your own training, depending on your goals, of course. But my goals are to press big weights overhead, and this is how I get it done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite pressing accessory is. I'll leave you with a little bit of a tidbit that mine is the banded pin press. I do it every single pressing session, pressing 2, that is the Friday session, which I usually film for you guys, and it's a killer, but it has been what's helping me blast through those lockouts, obviously, as well as all of the tricep training we're doing today. But yeah, hopefully those tips I gave you earlier help improve your form on the strict press and allow you to press some pretty huge numbers. But yes, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Toby. I hope you did enjoy. If you made it this far, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me massively. But anyway, thank you for the final time for watching, and I will see you in the next one.